Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cream for Earnings Chat.
Oh, everyone's creaming here.
Cream. We'll tell you why we're saying that in just a moment, but we're getting a little bit of backlash. And you know what? Frankly, we don't give a shit because it is earnings time and there's a lot to keep talking about. So we're going to talk about it.
And of course, Uncut Gems.
We're going to talk earnings. We're going to talk. We have a little bit of sports news. We have a little bit of. We have a little COVID check-in at the very end. Don't worry, it's short and it's optimistic. And then, of course, we're going to end with our winners, losers, and content, and talk about. Give it to us, D.
What, a big yawn?
Nope. They're going to talk about. Uncut Gems. Okay, there it is. Everyone ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Welcome back to Group Chat earnings season. Ding, ding, ding.
You know what? I saw on
It's not earnings season. It's losing season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe, not so earnings season.
We should do a merch instead of what is like Drake season? Like, what are his things that he will do season on? I always feel like he has seasons.
He has a lot of seasons. Yeah. We should too.
N. So this is, house is burning season.
Top season. That's
top
what
season.
it is.
Yeah. Top season.
We have bottom season.
This is the bottom season. This is the bottom feeder season. I mean,
what's going on? Is it just blood and guts or what?
Blood and guts on Wall Street. Today, what I was going to say is on TikTok, we were talking about, I don't know, Disney earnings or something. So I was looking at the comments and some guy goes, man, these guys just cream over earnings.
Well, he's not wrong. Welcome to Group Chat.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
It's cream season.
Cream season.
It's appropriate. It's the biggest asset class in the world, the U.S. stock market.
Yeah, I mean, why not be excited about it?
Once a quarter, we cream. Fuck off.
Cream chat.
Come on. The other time we're talking about Kylie Jenner and fun shit, all right? But we got to check in. So how are we looking? Is give me the rundown.
Yeah, so I mean, basically what's happening is it is earnings season and everyone's reporting their Q4 earnings, which we've been talking about the last couple episodes. It is now accelerating, like more earnings are coming out. And a lot of the earnings that are coming out are these like growth tech stocks. So we talked about Roblox, Shopify, and then basically every day the news is the same news over and over again. And then you have the Russia-Ukraine tensions, which I'm still, besides the oil gas issues, I don't know how that affects consumer confidence or spending in America, but whatever, it spooked Wall Street.
I think the reason is because the assumption is China is just watching this. And if Russia just goes over and takes over Ukraine, China's just going to go and take over Taiwan.
Yeah.
So that
I will say I saw a clip from a Trump interview where he's just like punking, obviously trying to punk old Biden. And he's like, essentially after they saw, how weak we were on our pull out of Afghanistan, they were like, all right, these guys are bitches. And now they're just hanging out at the Olympics talking about invading countries. That was the Trump, of course, Trump in these times, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen any clips or not, but like he's going on Fox News just taking a victory lap.
Because he's been muted on social media and, I generally enjoy Trump content. I haven't seen any. I need to go search it. TikTok's the place?
Yeah, TikTok's the place. You'll get it. I'll be honest. I stopped sending you content because it made my algorithm insane. I sent like 2 videos to you that were light, and TikTok was obviously like, "Oh, this guy's like a full right wing conspiracy guy," and my whole TikTok was ruined for like 2 weeks. But yeah, if you get in there a little bit, you'll get some good clips. But I think the only place he really has a place to speak is Fox News. They have him on all the time, but he's just loving it. That's he's really enjoying it. And he's saying, oh, China's next, and it's just going to be all out chaos because, you guys voted me out. So, but is anyone really not like spending less because of this?
So that data, even the all the consumer indicators says the economy is still strong. I think what's happening is that these very highly valued companies are now kind of saying, growth is going to be a little bit slower this year. And that, like this company Amplitude that reported today, behavior analytics company. I don't know what the fuck that means. It's a dashboard.
They're basically,
Bloodbath.
I mean,
bloodbath.
It's not my area of expertise, but what I understand from just reading it really quickly, they just optimize your data for making your product better. So basically A/B test your entire site, your app, whatever. Like, hey, does green work better than blue? That's pretty much what they do.
Sure.
Amplify, right?
Okay. Well, the amplitude. Okay. Well,
It's funny because a year ago we were saying we don't know what these companies do, but they're like tripling in valuation every
Now
month.
we don't know what any of these companies do.
And now they're
down
cutting
70%.
Neither do they. Yeah.
yeah, that's the problem. Nobody knows what they're
Wait,
doing.
what do we do over here?
Yeah. And so this stock got slaughtered today.
It's the worst of the bunch.
It's definitely the scariest stock chart of the day.
Even Shopify caught it.
Yeah. So we talked about Shopify last episode, and that stock was down, is down well over 50%. And today it accelerated even further. Amplitude was trading at $46 yesterday. It is now at $17. It went down $24, over 50%. The high of the stock is $52. But here's the thing. This company does like $160 million in revenue, and it was worth,
$8 billion must have been, right?
at the peak, right? Like a little, maybe a little less. Sure, $8 billion. So when you're trading, 50 times revenue, 50 times, you don't make any money, you're going to get punished. And even now at 1.8 billion, you're still trading 10 times revenue.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
And they're still growing. So I think the lesson I've kind of learned in the last 2 weeks with earnings, it's guidance more than beating, because Amplitude, while we don't know what they do, they beat on revenue, they beat on everything, but they lowered on guidance. So the moment when the moment you're not amplifying,
The only beat they got is a ing beating.
yeah. So I think you need to beat on your estimates, and if you have to beat on guidance. And I actually was talking to a friend in tech, and he was basically like, what's going to happen in the next 12 months if you're any company? I don't know what software services you guys use, Drama, but like an average company uses Asana, Slack, you name it, like 7 other services. And when they realize the market's kind of changing, like, do I really need 7 different software services? Like, let's consolidate and go from 7 to 4. And if you do that over tens of thousands of companies, Amplitudes of the world get slaughtered.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday, actually, in a meeting. There's companies, like bigger companies, where each department has their own platforms that they use. Like, creative might use Asana and this and whatever, and sales might use this. And I feel like that's going to get streamlined in this process.
And I think companies are going to look and see, like, we spend on 12 different software products. We're in a contracting environment. Let's cut it down to 6.
Yeah.
That's like devastating for these companies.
Yeah, it's true. Especially when growth has just been so rapid. Like, I feel like they also just went from out of the norm growth time, being that everyone's working from home. So you need all of these platforms, you need all this tech. Like, their numbers have looked insane for the last 2 years. And then you hit this moment,
and then
that's going to be a rough turnaround.
We talked about it in the last episode. Microsoft said you're back in the office. And
Yeah, you don't need Asana.
They're going to
Talk
trickle
to each
down
other.
to small businesses are going to be like, you got to be in the office.
You need a sauna.
And
You need multiple saunas.
how much, imagine like how much less software you need if everyone's just in like a conference room talking.
You're like, it's the opposite of software eating the world. People are going to be eating sandwiches.
Together.
We should be long deli sandwiches for those stupid corporate lunches, right?
For real. Go long leases.
Yeah, like go long the small coffee shop downstairs at your building because they're about to fucking crush it. Because this is the thing
They deserve it.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
so I feel so bad for. We have
Lisa.
a sandwich shop, Lisa, who I'm very loyal to.
Yeah.
And
well, you're not because she was like, I don't see your brother anymore.
what are you talking about? I just went this morning.
She said
But the other day she was like, I don't really see your brother.
Wow. Funny story for our listeners. Every time an employee quits, Lisa lets employees kind of build up credit, you know, like, oh, you owe me $200, but whatever, I'll pay you on the next one. And then people quit or get fired and they never pay old Lisa. And she comes to On and looking for.
Some of these bills are big.
Yeah.
$500 just
I don't
burning.
know why is she taking on so much risk?
Yeah, she needs like an underwriter.
Yeah,
like, you know what? You're good for $50. I don't know about you.
She needs a firm. Get a weekly payment.
Yeah,
with these kids.
Yeah,
well,
buy now, pay later.
Things are going to turn around for Lisa and all the Lisas across the country.
I mean,
what are you guys?
like,
are you guys doing anything different?
Yeah. So, yeah, we're definitely. What I'm been doing is kind of looking just across the board on expenses. And really finding these interesting things like, I'll give you an example, like Google spend. Google spend on branded keywords. It seems like a waste of money to me. Because even if I'm getting outbid on my own name, but someone searched for my name, let's just say they get distracted by a link, and their intention is to find our brand. I just don't want to pay for it anymore. Yeah. And when you look up how much you end up spending on things like that, and it's just combing through stuff, and it's a lot. Like, you know, when you look at how many software programs you're using, how many, it's like, and you don't know. We're looking at our AWS bill, and it went up, and I'm like, why? There's no way we're doing more business than we did last month.
Yeah.
And so like that needs to change. And so I think it's like, it's going to take a long time because people have not been this disciplined on spend in a very, very long time. But you got to just comb through everything now. And that's what, you know, what Peloton is doing, hiring the McKenzies of the world, who's basically going to go in there and cut.
Oh, yeah.
And then you find these like, you know, you find $5,000 here, you find $10,000 there, you find $20,000 here, and all of a sudden, at the end of the year, you realize you've saved a lot of money.
I guarantee every private late-stage growth company is having this conversation right now, because I actually listened to a podcast. This guy named Gavin Baker, he was on Invest Like the Best. He's been investing for decades, like super smart dude, and he was basically like, "Look, growth stocks are down 60%, right?" And private market valuations have not come down as of like today. And the job of private investors is to keep your marks high. So you show a high IRR, even though it's not liquid, and then go raise your next fund. So they're going to hold on as long as they can to these private valuations. But at the same time, they're going to tell all their portfolio companies, like, you better deal with the cash you have today. Otherwise, if you're going to need cash, you're going to have to do a down round. And there's nothing worse in the private markets than doing a down round because everyone loses confidence in you. And companies are going to be like, okay, we have $150 million in the bank. This needs to last me through the storm. So the storm's going to be all year. Maybe it's 18 months, and then the good times are back. It could be sooner. I don't think anyone really knows. But I guarantee you every board of every late-stage company is saying, like, this cash better last, otherwise you're going to have a massive predatory round, and then the wolves are going to come out. And so these companies, there's some companies that are great that are going to be fine, but no one's up rounding private companies right now in the late stage. Early stage is still on fire from what I hear. Late stage, everyone's being told you better deal with your cash, because if you're worth $12 billion in the private markets and you're about to go public, you're worth $6 overnight.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, you know, like we've seen it. Every IPO is bumped.
Every single
Even
one.
Roblox is now bumped.
Yes. Every single one.
And Roblox is less than a year old, right?
I thought Roblox was untouchable.
And you know what's crazy? Like, I know everyone's going to get annoyed when I talk about Coinbase. They're sitting on $6.5 billion of cash and do like $5 billion of EBITDA. And they've been down 55%.
Yeah.
All these other companies we talk about lose a fuck ton of money.
Well, that's because crypto's over, bro. It's over. I'm looking at crypto right now. You got ETH at 2,800. All my other shit coins are in the shitter.
They're shit coins for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, we're down to 40K on Bitcoin. What's
A
going on?
casual
man?
10% drop in a day.
Did you see Warren Buffett finally changed his tune? Bought $1 billion worth of crypto?
Yeah, if
Invested $1
Warren-
billion into a crypto fund.
You got to follow Warren. If Warren's in, that means you're fine.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Warren smells blood every time. I guarantee you Warren is backing up the Brinks truck for Facebook. They're sitting around being like, how is it? Because they're of the big tech companies, they're the only one that's got slaughtered.
I mean, Facebook, as much headwinds that they have, they're getting treated like Amplitude.
Yes.
This is one of the greatest companies
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
This guy wants to start calling his employees MetaMates.
Yeah, I saw that.
Come on, man. You deserve knock off 20% more for that comment.
But these guys do like 55 billion of EBITDA. They're getting priced like they're fucking Macy's.
Yeah.
And they're going like 50% year over year in profits.
Yeah. And by the way, 58 billion in cash.
Oh my god.
Facebook's the cheapest stock in
They're
the stock market.
trading 10 times the cash they have.
Exactly.
That's wild. Yeah, I don't you feel like, I mean, who the hell knows, but you said it on him, but like we're going to have it just seems to me like we're going to have a pretty severe bounce back too at some point.
For sure.
Like it seems like in some areas an overcorrection, maybe not in all of them, but in areas like we just said about Facebook and some of these places, Coinbase, it just doesn't quite make sense either.
And you think about, I just think it's a function of being in the modern era of 2022. The downturns happen violently and quickly, and the upturns happen as quickly and what's the opposite of violent? Positively. And it just happens. This just contracts the time. Like if this was 2005, we would have a slow slog of like companies down 5% after earnings, then 5% the next one, and it takes 18 months to get down 30, 40%. But now it just happens overnight. And I mean, U.S. public equities, specifically in tech, is swinging like crypto down 20 to 50% overnight on announcements. We've never seen that before. This is like a whole new like thing that's going on. It's happening across the board in all these growth tech stocks. And I just think everything's just contracting. Everything just, you get crushed as quickly. And if you're good, you get pushed up as quickly. So
yeah, that makes sense. What about Walmart? Old trusty Walmart?
Chilling.
Yeah.
Business is booming there. Their stock popped today.
And the thing, that last point on the like violent swings with these companies is that this isn't retail anymore. Like the Robinhood trader disappeared; they're gone.
Well, Robinhood's over.
This is
Retail Joe's RIP.
These are massive institutions that are like dumping and buying positions at like such crazy scale. It's never happened before in the public markets.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me how quickly things change. Like how literally the entire thing, what feels like 2 weeks ago was Robinhood is everything, retail investor. Oh my gosh, so much money in the market is from the retail investor. Everything's on fire, can't lose. And it's like a totally different conversation. Like literally the opposite across the board.
And it happened in like 45 days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the stock market, like we always say, is a leading indicator. This is just the pain in the companies haven't happened yet. They're all forecasting that it's going to be a little bit tougher this year. So stock market could rip back in 30 days, but then the pain in the companies could be felt the rest of the year or 2 years. And so that's the other thing to keep in mind, that the stock market's not a true indicator of what's happening currently.
I mean, and these companies, especially in the private markets, I mean, public markets too, like they're going to have a tough time hiring because people are going to look at the valuations, specifically in the late stage growth. If you're getting priced options on valuations from 3 months ago, you know your equity is underwater.
Yeah.
Like if a company raised in October at 12, 15 billion and you're getting a job in February of 2022, and if they try to price your equity at the October valuation, it's 40% corrected.
Yeah.
So how are they going to compensate? I mean, one of my best friends, who both you guys know and detox all the time, had a huge exit 18 months ago, but wants to get back in the game at like a very senior level. And he's literally texted me yesterday. He goes, "It doesn't make sense to go to these private companies at these valuations because I know
it's not going to be worth that.
It's not worth even what they were trying to price it at today."
Yeah.
So like, do I just wait and like wait for everything to correct and then get back in the game? So he's just like,
yeah, or go to a publicly traded company.
just get back into Google, do nothing, and make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, or like, dude, if you like any of these publicly traded companies, it's a great time to get stocks in them.
Yeah, but you want
like Coinbase is probably, I don't know, what was the last private round at Coinbase?
before they went public?
Yeah.
$8 billion.
8 billion, but that was like what, 4 years ago?
2018.
So yeah, 4 years ago. So at 50 billion, you're getting, you're still doing better than most employees that have been hired post IPO.
Right. And they hired a shit ton.
Yeah, I'm sure they had so much money, so why not go higher? So post IPO, like, it's not a bad place to
And
work.
like, it's the companies that are sitting on a ton of cash that can just pay someone $10 million to come cash, forget stock. Like, you go to a private company, they don't have the cash to pay you $5 million a year.
No, they're paying you in stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, take the cash, put it in crypto. Even better.
Boom, you're down half.
Boom. And just like that, you're broke again.
How do you be worth $2.5 million? Put $5 million in crypto.
Oh, man. You want to know how you get rich? Put some money into Doordash. That's, bad news for, it's funny because we just celebrated all the good news coming to all the Lisas in the world. But this Doordash, these numbers say otherwise. This is not good for Lisa.
Yeah, so their stock skyrocketed today, and they're seeing a tremendous demand in local retail deliveries, including grocery, pet food, and alcohol. And he said 14% of Doordash customers are trying out these services. So I'm sure that has helped with combating some of the slowness in the just delivery space. The other thing, what I like about Doordash, this quote is ridiculous that's getting put everywhere, where the CEO goes, "We eat 3 times a day." Yeah, no shit. Like, we're fully aware of that.
Well, there you go.
But he's saying that there's 100 times a month to potentially sell each person. What are you smiling
snacks?
What I'm smiling at is I was on this pod 6 weeks ago saying Doordash is a name that everyone should be looking at because the guy who just said we eat 3 times a day is considered he's next in line to be one of those next great big tech CEOs.
So it's still cheap. It's still down 60% off its high.
Yeah, Doordash, this guy, I'm telling you, if you talk to anyone in Silicon Valley, they say this guy is next.
Yeah, because you know what? He sits you down and he goes, "Guess what, Anand? We eat 3 times a day."
Hey,
You go,
Zuck
genius.
How did he know I eat 3 times a day?
Hey, Zuck's not getting fooled. Zuck's a genius. He just put him on his board.
I don't know. Zuck looks like he's getting zucked in the
that's
ass.
He's a metamate. He's a metamate now.
He's coming up with a lot of bad ideas right now.
Oh, my God.
This guy could be the next. The other thing I am seeing, so I got an email. Let me see if I saved it from DoorDash today. Which the reason why I'm bullish on DoorDash as well is they're just thinking about things a little bit differently. And the email that I got was around helping you save a seat at your favorite restaurant.
DoorDash?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Like thinking about going into the reservation business.
Take out Open Table.
So Open Table, Resi, there's already those folks. My guess is DoorDash is such a huge revenue driver for so many restaurants that for them to say, why can't we be your reservations platform, or why can't we allocate some of our best customers to you guys? That's an interesting opportunity because like the more and more, the genius of Amazon was that it basically engulfed your entire life. It started with, hey, you need a book. And then next thing you know you literally can't live without it. And they moved into enough businesses where your whole life took over. DoorDash guy, he's like, we eat 3 times a day. So I'm going to stick you with the coffee in the morning, stick you with a delivery for lunch, and I'm going to get your reservation for dinner later.
He's gonna do it. I'm telling you. He's got the story too. Have you heard the Doordash story?
No, I'm sure immigrant struggled, blah blah blah. Had to walk. He was delivering pizzas, and then one day he figured out
His parents.
Man, you
his
could press a
parents
button.
His parents owned a Chinese restaurant
Okay,
in
here we
Northern
go.
California.
These are all
He
made up
worked-
stories. You know that, right? When you go raise money in Silicon Valley, you need to have a sob story.
I will tell you.
They take
one
you to
sto-
a writer. What's
one
your
story-
story?
Give me a little bit about yourself. What are you, Chinese? Okay. Chinese restaurant sounds good.
Like this.
No, the one story that I can confirm, because I've had friends that he went to Stanford Business School, and that's when he came up with the idea. And when he started DoorDash, he was actually the guy that was delivering everything.
Yeah, of course. That's part of the story.
No, that wasn't the story. My friends were like, this guy
That's
Tony
chapter
would
2.
show up.
Maybe that was his delivery. That was his job. He was a delivery guy. You got to have a hot story.
But don't
That
you
was-
think, like, in the world of people getting like back out, don't you think DoorDash suffers? Or
No, I actually don't. Because I could tell you every morning there's a coffee outside our door waiting for Amanda. She just schedules it ahead so that there's a coffee.
It's like room service.
So you don't have to go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
And
So
if you
maybe
pay the-
yeah.
You pay
I
the
think there's
monthly
two-
pass, you're not paying the delivery fee.
It's a
I
marked
think
up
there's
cost,
like-
though.
Yeah.
I think
It's
there's like
definitely
two
marked
things. We've talked about this, but like two things that happened during the pandemic. One is like people use tools that they're going to stop using when they go back to the world. And then people like discovered easier ways to go about your life that are going to stick.
Yeah, who wants to go to a coffee shop and wait in line when you can just schedule it every day at 8:30 there's a coffee?
That's why the CEO might not be so smart, because he didn't realize there's 3 meals a day. We eat 3 times a day, but we drink coffee once. Sometimes we have a dessert. He left out 50% of his,
That's the next earnings call.
yeah.
We eat 3 times a
you're
day
right.
and we have 4 coffees a day and we have dessert
And then,
snacks.
It's going to be 12 a day.
and then I guarantee you this is in 2 years. We've noticed 65% of our customers have diabetes. We're going to sell them insulin. Who else can get them insulin faster than
Yeah,
us?
why not?
Here's
Yeah.
here's your Diet Coke and French fries, and here's your
But
insulin.
you
shot.
know-
There you go. Follow it off with a jab.
But no, you know how you said Amazon started out selling books and now they literally do everything? That's what everyone thinks DoorDash is going to do for last mile. So they're going to control last mile for pretty much fulfillment centers, for everything, and deliver you everything because they already have the fleet of cars. It's basically what Uber would have done if they had Travis. But now I don't think his goals are different.
Yeah, it's just cost cutting and
Cost
profits.
cutting, try to get profitable. Uber's the biggest miss, honestly.
Yeah.
They had the most potential to be like an Amazon, and now
Uber
there's
to
no shot.
me 5 years ago felt like it was going to be Amazon, and now it's like I don't even like clicking the button.
Do you think if you keep Travis in, that happens?
if you kept Travis in and someone was able to keep him like toned down,
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was
like
possible.
maturity, if the maturity level was
Like
there.
yeah, just don't yell and scream at people and stuff.
Or just find a guy that you hire that you yell and scream at, and then that person then conveys the message in a more
the
professional
punching bag.
manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
You
how
can pay
Cloud
someone like $1
Kitchen's
million
doing.
bucks a year to be a punching bag. That'd be easy.
I wonder how Cloud Kitchens is doing. Have you heard? I know they just keep raising at like crazy valuations. I think the last valuation I heard was $12 billion.
Wow.
I just haven't heard anything about it. Like I haven't,
Yeah.
like meaning like
Who's in
people
that kitchen?
using it. It's in the clouds.
It's in the
It is the
cloud.
cloud.
No one's in the kitchen.
Yeah, no one's in the kitchen.
What
if
about?
they just go ahead?
No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, I was going to crack a bad joke.
What? Okay. Other financial things. Inflation. First, I think is good. LVMH and a lot of luxury brands are raising their prices.
Yep.
Seems. I mean, that seems like the best place you could probably get away with it, right? Because I don't know, what's the hike? Like 10% on your $2,000 bag? Does it really matter for that customer?
I mean, I think it's even way more substantial. So
Is it?
In Wall Street Journal, they did a comparison in China on a medium Louis Vuitton cousin bag. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm sure it's something French, but cuisine, croissant,
I like croissants.
and
You should Doordash one.
Yeah.
along with that coffee. That's how you get really fat.
But some of the handbags in these Chinese stores that they checked out were up 25% at retail.
Jeez.
So it's like pretty massive. And I think when you go around town and you go to like a nice restaurant, you see like, let's say an entree used to be like $32. Now it's like $45. I went to a restaurant over the weekend, and it was like I don't generally pay attention to. I'm vegetarian. Nothing I order is usually expensive, and the salad was like $40.
Yeah, no. This was probably a few months ago. We went to Craig's. The chicken parm was like $47.
They've always been expensive.
You
though.
think the chicken parm was $47 3 years ago?
3 years ago, maybe it was
38.
Yeah,
It's a big jump.
yeah, 25%. But yeah, I think the prices and I think the point of this story is really in luxury, raising your prices 25% does not affect your demand.
Yeah.
But in
Probably helps it.
Yeah, you're right.
It's even more exclusive.
But in
Chicken
in a
parm.
middle class environment where like you go to your local kind of national chain and let's say an entree is $15 and now it's $20. That is like I think really really tough for consumers to handle, because that incremental $5, then you're paying tax incremental on that. The tip is incremental on top of that. So it's really like 30% increase, if not more. I just think that I'm really curious to see how like middle class brands and services deal with inflation, because the last 2 years everyone had cash. Now there's clearly indication that consumer confidence is down. So if you had to pick, my guess that things that thrive in this type of environment are going to be travel, because you haven't gotten a chance to do it. So I don't see how a Disneyland suffers at all. Like you've been waiting to do it, so you'll go do it. I just think it'll affect your more everyday purchases, like apparel, shoes, maybe fitness, things of that nature. You'd rather like. I do believe travel feels like it's untouchable, assuming the world goes back to our normal state, because people the demand must be insane, like to go anywhere, to do anything.
Yeah, the trend in theory should be it moves from goods to services.
Yeah.
Right? So people are going to go, like you said, travel instead of like spend an extra $200 on Amazon.
Yeah. Like if you had to make a cut to go do your travel.
Yeah,
like,
do you need the new TV, or would you rather go to Palm Springs for the weekend?
Yeah, or like and cut the sneaker, cut the dress, cut the cosmetics, and go do something fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I think that's where the economy gets balanced out, and there'll be plenty of people that benefit from that, and maybe that's why we don't end up actually going into a recession, because all the other spending increases in other parts. But then other businesses will feel the pain that these businesses have felt for the last 2 years.
So over the holidays, one of my friends was trying to buy his wife a Chanel bag, and there wasn't an appointment available for like a month. And we called day of, and they were like, kind of laughed at us. Like, you think you can just walk into Chanel?
Yeah.
Does that change or no?
No chance.
No, I don't think so, because that group is richer than ever.
And then everyone.
That's like guaranteed revenue. It's intent to purchase.
Yeah.
It was his wife's Christmas gift or birthday gift, and you have a guaranteed $5K, and they just said fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't
that's
care.
amazing.
How insane is that?
Yeah.
Don't you like make a separate line? Hey, for like day of, you just have 5 minutes to decide. Why wouldn't they do that?
Or if it's like that 5K bag is 8K today if you want it.
Right. Or just say like you have to pick it out. And
You're not allowed to talk to the employee.
Exactly.
You're not allowed to look at them. The bag will be put outside. Just put the fucking money in this machine.
Put the credit card like like a buffet of
like the
Chanel
Sprinkles
bags.
ATM cupcake.
I think it's stupid. Don't you guys?
No.
That they just turn down revenue like
You know
that?
why? You want it more.
Yeah, I think it's brand. It's a brand play.
Yeah, you got to
Because think about, we're talking about how absurd it is that people want Chanel that bad and that they turn down $5,000. All that does is makes everyone think, damn, Chanel's really dope.
The best thing you could do to a really rich person is shit on them.
That's true.
It is.
Yeah, no,
Like go tell a billionaire they can't have something.
Yeah, no.
How does that change their mood? They're like, I'm gonna buy the whole fucking building.
Yeah.
And then
right.
okay, great. I'll make more money.
Yeah, literally. I'm gonna buy every purse you have. I'll show you what I can afford. And like,
Exactly. Great, thanks.
No, that's conversion.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The best thing you could. They know that. That's why when you walk into a Chanel, nobody helps you. No one wants to help you because they know we're too hot, and they've been hot for 100 years.
Yeah,
Is this the best story of an orphan ever? Wasn't she an orphan?
Yeah, there's got to be some other hot orphans.
We could head over to the story writers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
They could whip
Is
one
that
up.
story real?
Yeah,
Do we
I don't know.
yeah. We don't, I don't believe the Doordash one, so why would I believe this one?
Yeah.
Especially that era, no one could reveal, prove anything.
Yeah, you can't prove anything. Yep, that's true. What about also mortgage rates? So, there was a time, it feels like once again, very briefly ago, where you couldn't buy a house. Houses were like Chanel. Like you couldn't even, I heard stories of like, you can't even do a walkthrough. It's like, no, there's already 5 offers, cash offers, above sticker. You see the pictures, make the offer or don't. But mortgage rates are going up and could change a little bit of that.
Yeah, they're saying mortgage rates are getting close to 4%. That's insane.
It's a big jump because it's been sub 2 for the longest time.
It was 2 and change for most people, and now to get to 4, like your mortgage payment is substantially higher now.
Especially because a lot of folks do interest only, so your price got doubled.
Yeah.
Your monthly burn is double.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's affecting middle class people. This is what inflation does.
Yeah.
It affects middle class people. It doesn't affect the Chanel buyer.
Yeah. They're like, okay, 2 less bags a year.
Yeah. Like, okay, we have to pay cash for the whole thing. All right. Fine.
But yeah, I think interest, I'm really curious to see if interest rates actually make housing prices come down or just stabilize or
something's got to give. Because what I've heard in the last 40 days when the stock market just gotten crushed, that real estate hasn't been touched at all. I've talked to a handful of people about
that
this.
it's flat.
No, it's still like
Ripping.
impossible to get shit. Like we have friends looking for houses. It's like everything's still being overpriced, and you have to come in way over the top to even have a shot at getting a house.
Yeah.
And it seems like real estate has not been affected yet. But it doesn't make sense to me that if the market's still...
But the stock market's a leading indicator, right? So that means the housing pain will happen in 3 to 6 months.
Right.
Because all the people buying homes right now are living off the high from last year.
Yep.
Even if the stock market's down, they weren't counting on that money to make their housing purchase. So...
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, everyone in LA has been talking about a real estate correction for, I think, ever since I've been an adult, and it hasn't happened.
Forever.
It did in 2008, 2009, it did, 100%.
Okay, 2008, last correction.
Yeah, that's fair.
So 13 years. Every 3 years, it's like, real estate's coming down.
Just sit tight here.
Sit tight. Real estate's coming down.
Yeah.
Never, once.
No. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, you would think like kind of the lower end, the higher end definitely doesn't, but maybe there has to be a lot of people. I just don't get, like, I think in our bubble, it's easy to talk about like the super rich people that are paying crazy prices for houses, but this is happening like with regular houses as well. Like there's many people with so much money.
In the Valley, I know this for a fact because I have a lot of friends in the Valley, and not to say like these aren't expensive homes, but like $1 to $2 million homes.
Yeah.
It's sight unseen. You better come over the top or you have zero chance.
Yeah. And I think it's the same with like $500,000, $300,000 houses.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a universal thing.
Yeah, I even talked to people that I know in the Midwest that buy condos, and they're just like, yeah, like you got to come in the day that it goes live with the offer, otherwise you have no shot.
That has to change. Like with all this stuff, with inflation, with stock market issues, you'd think, I mean, where is all that money coming from?
Were that many people disappointed in where they lived?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So mortgage applications fell 5.4% from a week earlier. That's a big drop from 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll see the lag in the housing prices soon. You should see it.
You should, in theory.
I don't know at what level. I don't think like the ultra expensive homes, you know, the same way LVMH raising prices across the board.
So you're saying what's the barrier? Is it 5 million? Those are just still on fire?
5 and
million
above.
up?
Yeah, because those people, like, they're so rich. Like, I don't think it matters. But then, you know, I think everything else will have to, like, maybe not go down, but maybe not be madness.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Americans still are sitting on record cash. So if shit dips enough, people are going to come in and buy.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the American mindset that I completely didn't understand until the pandemic. Everyone thinks any downturn is an opportunity to go crazy and buy more.
Yeah.
Like the way the stock market, everyone was like, I remember talking to our parents' financial advisor in March of 2020, and the stock market's just getting crushed. And she's like, the advisor is like, everyone's saying, I just want to buy. And I'm like, what mentality is this?
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
long
didn't realize
America.
Buy the dip. It's in our national anthem.
Yeah. Oh, by the day.
everyone wants shit to go up. Everyone wants everything to go up. So
Yeah,
just buy.
I don't quite understand it. I feel like there's almost like separate. There's like multiple different economies happening. You know, because people are undeniably getting crushed, but people are also having unheard of amount of money.
Other than obviously the flashy companies that are laying off people that we read about, like Peloton, have you heard of small businesses like friends of yours that are laying off people yet?
Laying off people.
Saying like, we got to tighten up.
No, I've not.
I haven't. Because simultaneously you're having this like return from COVID thing. You know, so like I hear more about like people looking for offices or getting people back in the office. Like there's kind of this like expansion mentality. I don't feel like there's been any cuts yet, at least in my world.
Facebook ads saying it's clear Facebook ads don't work anymore. Shopify is getting crushed. They're going to lose customers. Those small businesses have to have cuts.
It's a lag. Everything's a lag. It takes time. It doesn't happen tomorrow. It doesn't happen right away.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't hear more backlash from the iOS issue, but that's been some time now. Like you would think that we would hear more about people struggling mainly because of that.
You hear about it all the time.
Yeah, everyone's still struggling with it. I think they
like layoff level struggling or just dealing with it struggling?
I think that's the next step because once you kind of can face reality that like you can't grow anymore, then the next option is okay, can we find another way to grow? Which I think some people will figure out. There's no doubt in my mind people will figure that out. And then the next logical step after that is like, okay, we can't grow. We want to kind of weather the storm. We have to cut costs. And that might start with, you know, things like office, warehouse, and, you know, Asana. But like it'll eventually hit the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's in salaries too. You know, like what
don't get the bonus that you thought you were getting.
Yeah, and maybe it's not like if we're hiring someone new, we're not at the same level as we thought we were going to be.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, let's talk about electrical cars. Ford's Mustang Mach-E has beaten the Tesla Model 3 as Consumer Reports' top electric vehicle for 2022. The question is this just Consumer Reports puts out their favorite?
I don't know, but I know people actually care about this, like Consumer Report.
Really?
Like I remember growing up and like our parents like, oh, Consumer Report said this is the best minivan. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's fair. Is it?
I think it matters. I think it matters for sales, and I think it matters for like a lot of consumers. Look, Tesla is a very sexy brand. They could be the 7th most popular thing on Consumer Reports. I don't think it affects their sales, but I think if you're a new net new electric vehicle purchaser in an older demographic, you might go, hey, you know what? That Mustang got higher ratings in Consumer Report.
Yeah, here's what it is. Reliability data shows that it has very few problems. Owner reviews are very positive, and their own in-house testing. So it's them as a trusted service saying this thing has very few problems. It's a great car. And I think you're right. As much as I want to shit on them, I think people do really trust things like this when they're making a big decision like that.
Yeah, and I think validation always matters for consumers to make a purchase. And even how many people will go on Yelp or Rotten Tomatoes? Like, I'll talk about something and be like, "Oh, that got an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes," and I'm like, I don't give a fuck what Rotten Tomatoes thinks. Who is Rotten Tomato?
Yeah,
who is that?
it's bullshit.
Yeah, I could see.
It's bullshit. It's all fake.
Because you'll see, like, they'll have like a Dave Chappelle special that Rotten Tomatoes gives like a 10%, and then the audience score is like 98.
Yeah.
So do you think this conversation's happening at the dinner table? 16-year-old kid comes home.
Yeah.
I want a Tesla.
They're at dinner, and the family's deciding what the next car is. Kid's like, we got to get a Tesla.
Yep.
And mom and dad are like, we want a Mustang,
Yep.
electric vehicle.
That's probably the exact conversation.
Yeah.
Because I would say the brand of Tesla is just so strong. I mean, I'm sure there's a customer that wants a Mustang logo on their steering wheel, but I bet you it's that. It's like the parents who are putting up the money for it are trusting the consumer report.
Yeah, and I think, Tesla is so similar to me in brand as Apple.
Yeah.
In that, like, the consumer is so goddamn loyal to Tesla. And if Tesla put out a phone today, that Tesla consumer would probably buy the phone just because they're that loyal to it. So I don't think at the end of the day, Tesla's business gets affected by this at all. But I do think it's going to give a confident nod to a lot of people who are entering the EV market for the first time.
I'm in Ohio, when you go back to visit, or even Nashville, like Tesla's out here, at least in LA where we live, it's like
A Prius.
The Prius, the Camry. It's literally every other car is a Tesla.
Yeah.
Do you see that when you go home?
So
Because the Model 3 is pretty affordable now.
I don't even think it's
Nashville
priced.
a
I think
little.
it's
Nashville a
even know
little,
if it's
yes.
a price,
Ohio,
yeah.
not really, not much.
because the Tesla brand is kind of coastal elitish.
Yeah.
So even if you can afford it in the Midwest,
I think if you're young,
I'd rather like Ford than support that crazy man Elon.
I think if you're young, you want a Tesla.
I think it's also that like in our cities or even in Nashville, it's like Nashville's very like, it's like Austin. Like it's that type of city now. It's like there's chargers like in parking garages and stuff, like I feel like that stuff hasn't really hit like the Midwest yet. It's still an additional burden
To own the car itself.
to go electric. Yeah, you don't have like those charging stations and stuff. But I will say, I mean, for full disclaimer, I haven't been home to where I'm from in 2.5 years. So, I mean, maybe it's more than before, but they're pretty, there's a lot of F-150s there still where I'm from.
Makes sense.
Not electric. But we'll see. I think you guys probably talked about it, but the Super Bowl commercials were like all electric vehicles. So like we've said before, and everyone's saying, it's just a different, like I think there's the person who wanted to buy the Tesla and they're going to buy it anyway. And then now there's a new person who wants a Mustang and
Right.
they'll both have it.
That's a lot of land grab though, because I don't know anyone who wants a Tesla that hasn't gotten one. But there's probably a lot of people that want the
that's
next
a bubble.
Mustang.
That's a bubble comment. Oh my God. I don't understand. Everyone that I know that wants Rolexes gets Rolexes. It's like, what's the problem?
You just own one. That's it.
The only thing they can't get is Chanel.
You cannot get a Chanel
And
bag.
I'm outraged. Okay. What about sports/business? USC quarterback, Caleb Williams. I'm a little confused by this. So
This is amazing.
what? The story?
No, the story. The story is
Okay.
amazing.
I thought I fumbled. Maybe he was like a running back or something.
No.
So he's taking advantage. It seems like of the ability for college athletes to make money. He has a Beats by Dre deal, which is really cool. But now he has this whole other thing. I'm really confused on what it is because someone like a fund is backing him to invest in real estate or something.
this is gonna. The NCAA has opened up a can of worms that now can't get back. The genie's out of the bottle.
And let me tell you, the genie who is going to benefit the most in the entire country is USC.
So what happened, the story is Caleb Williams, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, transferred to USC and is going to be the starting quarterback next year. And he transferred because of the coach that came, Lincoln Riley. But now that players can above board make money as collegiate athletes, like this guy got a Beats by Dre deal because he lives in LA now.
Apparently it was $2.5 million.
Was it really?
That's what the rumor is.
Wow.
And now he's like the face of a real estate private equity fund.
That seems
Which
a little
our friend runs.
no.
Yes.
We know, like, I'm like, hey, he could be a fucking genius and like good for him if he is, and have like such great analytics for a real estate private equity fund. Like,
But it has to just be like, it has to be like how
things.
some investors are like starting podcasts and like trying to build a presence. Doesn't this feel like, I mean, you guys probably know, but doesn't that seem like that's the strategy? Like it's just a way to bring prestige to your fund and make you more exciting.
No, this is the way to get keep USC happy, and maybe you root for the team, and you are the person that, guess what, the people who are at this private equity firm are going to be on the field. They just got Caleb Williams some money to keep him happy at USC, and there's going to be field passes for these people. There's going to be, they're in the locker room after
Field
the game.
passes. They're going to be having him play catch with their kids.
Exactly. They're going to be on the golf course with the kids and doing all this. And this is going to happen across the country. Like,
Well, here's the thing. USC is uniquely positioned to take advantage of this. And not even because it's the wealthiest city. Obviously, New York and San Francisco are equally, if not way more wealthy. New York doesn't have a major college football program. New York City.
Yep.
Right? Probably the closest team that's good is what? Rutgers? There's like no team anywhere close that's good in college football. We know those dorks in San Francisco are not going to be...
No.
They're not watching college. Larry and Sergey ain't
the
watching...
billionaires from Stanford all left.
And they're not college football fans. They're just not. USC is this weird mix of Hollywood, real estate tycoons, some new tech tycoons, but like still care about sports, still care about like notoriety and being involved in the culture and the community. And when I saw the NIL deal start rolling out, I was like, I don't think there's a better school in the country to take full advantage of it.
I said this facetiously like 2 months ago whenever Lincoln Riley got hired, that all of a sudden Rick Caruso is going to sign the biggest star at SC for like a $2 million deal to be at the Grove.
Yeah.
And that actually makes sense. The
Yeah.
star of USC football, he has to do 4 appearances
At the Grove.
At the Grove. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Private real estate, private equity fund.
Yeah.
Wouldn't talk to your boy.
We should have him on the podcast. But yeah, but I think
And especially like this kid was playing in Oklahoma. It's
Yeah.
not like everyone in LA knows who he is.
Yeah,
It's
now
not
they
like
do.
Matt Leinart being the head of a real estate fund while he was at SC when he was the biggest star in the city. That would have made sense.
But Caleb Williams will be the biggest star in the
Yep.
city.
Yeah,
I mean,
might be
like,
good.
maybe they're
early bet.
forward thinking, and this is the greatest move of all time.
yeah, like if this guy ends up becoming a legendary quarterback, like, here's the thing. These things were happening anyways. Now it's all above board. And now that you can just publicly just write multi-million-dollar checks to athletes and call it an endorsement deal, I just don't see how a school is better positioned than, like, there's...
The Texas schools, I feel like they'll make the quarterback the head of the oil company and pay him $10 million, right?
Okay, so...
Amazing. That'd be so
Yeah.
good. You
Here's
should
the
just
thing.
get a little chip off the local business, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think Texas could be uniquely positioned to get a lot of players, but I just think LA has also the brand, the corporate money.
This
plus-
might be the one thing that takes down Alabama.
Yeah,
I don't know if Alabama, I don't know what corporations are based, but they can't compete with private equity funds just writing checks.
yeah,
Yeah, true.
because there's unlimited private equities in LA, unlimited real estate private equity.
And what we noticed, like, every Super Bowl, there's nothing, the middle-aged football fan does than fawn after these athletes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
So this is perfect.
Yep.
You guys should watch. It's not good enough to be my content recommendation, but the college admission scandal Netflix show.
I did
Oh, I
watch
saw it. I saw it.
You saw
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Gives you some good insight on what was going on.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, Rick
I thought
Singer.
that actor was great. The
Singer?
the guy who played. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good. Okay, depressing news. Tyler Skaggs, the Angels pitcher who passed away from fentanyl overdose. A jury has just found a guy named Eric K. Guilty for distributing that fentanyl to him. I didn't realize this guy Eric K. is an ex-Angels employee.
Yeah, so I actually did a deep dive on this and just wanted to understand what they were deliberating. How is this going to be treated? And here are the facts that were presented at trial. And I don't know. I'm curious where you guys land on this. I'm sure for the family, it's so devastating, and they want some sort of closure and someone to be punished because he did die. And I have friends who know him from baseball that knew him very well. So here are the facts. This guy Eric K. was the comms director for the Angels. He suffered from addiction of like oxy and all those stuff, opioids.
Yeah.
He'd been to rehab, and apparently Tyler Skaggs also had similar issue. So they basically, according to the trial, what I've just read, like this guy TJ Quinn, he's been posting about on Twitter, and I actually listened to a podcast this morning about it, that basically they came to an agreement. And just for backstory, like we know how these teams work. If you're an employee of a team, your job is to keep the players happy. And that's just kind of an unwritten rule. And, if it's gray area, like we know all this shit is going on. And the agreement that these two came to, this guy Eric K. goes source the pills, and Tyler Skaggs will pay for it, and they'll both do it together. Or they'll both do it separately. But they both suffered from the same like need to do oxycodone.
Yeah.
And this night in Dallas, there were text messages between the two that they don't say pills, but they're insinuating like I need 5, whatever. And then there's a text like come to room 429. And then they started doing it together. This guy Eric K. leaves. And then later in the night, he dies from asphyxiation of his vomit. So Tyler Skaggs vomited and then died from it, like choked on his vomit.
Yeah.
And the prosecution is saying this guy was distributing fentanyl, and the fentanyl killed him.
Uh-huh.
And oxycodone, does it have fentanyl, Drama?
No, not legit.
Like, it's not legal. Like, you were not. Fentanyl was laced in it. It probably
Yeah,
wasn't
correct.
branded as fentanyl, right?
Yeah.
So this oxycodone had fentanyl in it, and they're saying he got charged with distributing fentanyl. And I think Texas laws are probably much stricter than I would say California laws, especially with this stuff.
Yeah.
And they convicted him today, and he's facing a minimum of 20-year sentence.
Sheesh.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
This seems
gnarly.
like they were both just doing drugs together is how I kind of read it.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's a it's another attempt. It's like this war on drugs stuff, right? Like how the war on drugs doesn't work, and there's been historically these really severe punishments instead of help. And I think this is a tactic, is like, the person who took it and overdosed, died. And so we're going to like do the maximum amount of penalty to anyone involved, because this must be the best way to dissuade anyone from doing this at all. Like, just don't do it. It's like this blanket, like everyone's in jail then. That's the, and I think that there are definitely
Like, didn't
times.
we do this in the 80s?
Yeah, we did, because the whole thing's sad. I mean, look, it's obviously devastating for this guy's family, but for even this Eric K. guy, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure he's absolutely devastated as well. And then this, like, nobody wins here. The people who were the real, like, really, really did a bad thing were the people who laced the pills. But that's, who the hell knows who that was. Everyone loses in this scenario,
Yeah, I just think it's, it just seems like it's just way more nuanced than like, hey, you're accusing this guy of being a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Because they had this agreement. Yeah. And they did drugs together.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wins. It's and it doesn't feel like, totally right. It doesn't feel, it's just a gnarly. Yeah. And not to go too deep on it, but meanwhile.
Especially, just last thing, especially because we know how pro athletes and pro teams work. If you work for the team, you basically do whatever the players say. Otherwise, you get fired.
Yeah, but here's the other crazy thing is that athletes are given pain medicine legally, pain pills legally. You know, so that's what like a lot of football players argue about. It's like, we can't smoke weed, but they'll give us endless pain pills. Or, if you want to go really deep, like the pharmaceutical companies still sell all of these things. They're still very loosely prescribed. People are still like actively getting addicted. And then what happens is ultimately the doctor's like, okay, you don't really need it anymore, but now you're addicted. And so you end up resorting to things like this,
Exactly. Like, we know enough like pro athletes that say like we have a close friend who played college football at USC. He still needs epidurals to get out of bed because his back is so fucked. Yeah. An epidural is what you use for pregnancy. Yeah. So like,
and keep in mind, at all these big pharmaceutical companies, yes, there's been some penalties lately and some fines, but no one's been arrested.
Yeah, they're taking it out on this guy is where I think, can we look at the records and see, did the Angels prescribe any of these pain meds legally, the medical doctor? Yeah. And that's what caused the addiction?
I'm sure. Who knows? I don't want to say it's fact if I don't know, but most of the time where this happens is someone has a surgery.
Yeah.
That's it. You have a surgery, you have an injury, you have a whatever, and you get prescribed these things because that's what everybody does. And then sure enough, when your prescription's up, the pain might be gone kind of, but you're addicted now. And so then you go to Eric K and ask him if he can get them for you. And one of them has fentanyl in them because that whole system's fucked up and people die and everyone goes to jail except for
the source,
the people who introduced it into the system. Yeah.
Right.
That's the fucked up thing about the whole thing, but it's so hard to.
It's so fucked up because I'm sure the family wants retribution. They want someone. This kid died, so they want someone to pay for it, and I get that, and that's not their fault.
Yeah,
and then now I don't know.
It's sad. This whole thing is so sad. These stories happen constantly here, and we just know about these ones because it's a famous baseball player and stuff like that. But these stories are happening constantly. People getting addicted to painkillers through a doctor, then getting ones that are laced or getting addicted to tougher things and dying. Yep. Okay. Here's some, I read this as good news, but maybe it's not. Who the hell knows? An estimated 73% of the United States is now immune to Omicron. The question is, to me, that says, all right, well, fucking let's get back to it then. But is that, are we at herd immunity now? Are we done? Are we immune to the next variant? Like, are we good? Anyone a doctor out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're a doctor.
I am.
So tell us, doc.
You went to Harvard.
I have a story.
Harvard
I
PhD.
wrote a story about being a Harvard doctor.
Struggling in Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, I was delivering and, I wanted to build a $30 billion delivery company, but I decided to become a doctor.
You're a man of the people.
I really am.
Yep.
Look, I'll tell you, this is obviously all anecdotal. We went to the Super Bowl. We went to parties. We went everywhere. It's been now basically the Super Bowl chaos started on Friday. Today's Thursday. If COVID and Omicron is a really, really contagious, horrible thing, we should see insane spike in positive tests like today.
Yeah. You should be hearing about it. Like the way it would go is people would be texting you like, oh man, I got COVID.
Exactly. And the thing is when that happened in December, January, every corner had a testing site. Every testing site was slammed. Now I don't see any testing sites, in the same places anymore. They have the same testing that still exist around the city, none of the additional places, but it's basically been, Sunday would be today would be day 4 from the Super Bowl. So this is technically the day people start getting it.
If you think about it, everyone who was at the Super Bowl Sunday was at everything Thursday, Friday,
or
Saturday.
just in the city in general. It was just out and about, right? So it's really it's coming up on a week. So, and this is a city that had a mega event. So, I mean, we got to start. Like whatever, like everyone obviously can do whatever they want, but we're moving the fuck on.
Yeah, we got to get back to it. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. But I just, I don't. Fingers are crossed, but it just feels like we did it.
Yeah,
we got vaxxed.
Yeah.
We got the Omicron. We did the whole thing. I think we're good. Okay, let's finish it off with some winners losers content. D, who's your winner for the last week?
I saw an interesting thing that a listener of ours posted. Jacob, he posted on his LinkedIn and tagged us that 23% of adults sometimes get their news from podcast, and I think it was like over 50% have never gotten any news from podcast. And I think the good part about that is it's still so new, this medium, that over time it's like when I meet someone new and they're like, I hear you have a podcast, like what's it called? Like maybe they don't, I turn them on to group chat and then they're like, oh man, this is amazing. It's like the discovery time for podcasts for whatever reason, because podcasts are not being like really actively promoted like a Netflix TV show. Like Netflix drops a new show, it's every billboard on Sunset. Right. Yeah. The whole city knows, oh shit, there's this hot new show on Netflix. Today, when a new podcast comes out or a podcast is popular, there's no true traditional marketing. It's so organic. Like your friend tells you, hey, go listen to this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's no discovery.
Or just like
terrible.
posts, TikTok, just organic sharing.
It's very organic still. So it gives me I'm very optimistic that the future of podcasts are still very, very bright. It's just about discovery. Like you gotta like, it's a weird medium. Like it's one of the only mediums, like it's not, except like our clips that we post on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. Other than that, like, and if you're not on those platforms, you're not discovering us unless a friend says, hey, you should check this out.
Yeah, I agree. So wait, who's the winner? Podcast?
I think podcasts are the winners.
Love it.
It feels like
how can we be
days.
bigger than number one?
For us, it can't get any bigger. I'm just talking about the medium in general.
Yeah. There's no one to tell. They all listen.
Yeah.
Anand, how about you?
My winner is Aaron Donald from the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know if you guys saw clips of the parade.
No.
He had his shirt off, and he literally looked like the Incredible Hulk. I've never seen like a bigger
So you're
person.
jealous of his body.
Like he was ripped, you mean?
Yeah,
you mean he was
so
like super
big.
sexy?
No, I'm just going through his day, and like, so he's like the star of the parade.
Yeah.
And his wife is someone we actually know and we're friendly with. We actually spent the entire Coachella with her. She came with us to all the events. Mm-hmm. And I saw him, and they're like newborn, and they were like celebrating. And then he went to James Corden. Then he was courtside at the Lakers game last night and standing ovation. And the Lakers were down all game. I was watching it, and LeBron just went, crazy. And LeBron does this like crazy drive to the basket, and it was just like an incredible play. Then goes over, daps up Aaron Donald like in the middle of the game, and it was this like big moment. Then after the game, LeBron and Aaron Donald embrace, and they like share this moment together. And I just feel like he owned the day.
Yeah,
Okay.
good for him. I see why you like this. I just looked it up. You're a sick man, Anand.
Does he look insane? Yeah. He looks like a superhero.
Yeah, good for him. He looks like he's really on cloud 9. Good for him.
And I think he should have been MVP after watching a lot of the clips of the game. He's considered the best defensive player of this generation, and he controlled the entire second half defensively.
Love it. Did you see that clip of someone trying to take a photo of Matthew Stafford and falling backwards off the stage?
And the follow-up is she fractured her spine.
Is that true?
And now there's a GoFundMe for her to pay her
that was
medical
kind of a
bills.
high stage.
Yeah, that was really.
What? And she was just a fan?
So she's a photographer. The clip is like, it's pretty. So she's taking photos of Stafford and his wife. She clearly just falls. Like, what do you think that was? Oh, it was like 7 to 10 feet?
I'd say 7, yeah. So D, she's like taking photos, kind of stepping back to get a little further, not noticing she's just walking off a 7-foot ledge.
Oh my God.
And then Stafford just shines her, turns around and like looks at his wife like, you deal with it.
Yeah, he did. I'm sure in the moment he thought he was like kind of funny, but like it looks really bad.
It looks really bad now knowing the consequences.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. My winner. Oh, I'll tell you who my winner is. My winner is Simon Leviev. Anyone know that name?
Is that the Tindler Swindler?
You're goddamn right it is. Did you watch it?
No, but someone else used that in a conversation the other day, and I was like, "Who is that?"
You got to watch it. So Simon Leviev is the Tinder swindler, and he has not only is he like,
so he's a real person.
well, I don't want to give any spoilers, but like he's out like doing his thing currently. He's a real person, and not only that, but now based off of all of his fame from the Tinder swindler, he has signed with LA-based manager Gina Rodriguez, who reps a wide variety of reality stars, including Mama June. And they're trying to package up a dating show for him. So in America, the great thing is you can literally scam people, let everyone know about it, and we got an opportunity for you.
And it's a real story, right? It's not like
Yeah. Yep.
So
when
is
you
that
watch
your
it,
content?
no, that's my winner, Simon Leviev.
But is that also your content rec or no?
No, I have a good content rack. Well, it's not a shocker, but losers. Who's your loser, D?
I don't know if you guys are still following all the Kanye, Pete Davidson. Kanye's Instagram at the moment right now is just a picture of Perez Hilton. He deleted everything else. It's just one picture of Perez Hilton, which is really, really funny. Yeah, it's something about like he used his real name and say doesn't care about mental health, blah, blah, blah. And then Julia Fox was on Alex Cooper's podcast, Call Her Daddy. Yeah. And I haven't watched it or listened to it, but I saw the very viral clip that everyone is posting of Jeff, whatever, the creator of Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems! Uncut Gems! What the fuck is going on between all these people? Pete Davidson clips, Kanye, Julia Fox. I mean, it is complete madness.
What is he going after Pete Davidson for? What's he going after Pete Davidson for? The clip because they did a skit? No, I know that obviously he's still...
He's a family... He's a home wrecker.
No, but then Pete Davidson did a skit and that's what Kanye got mad at?
No, that's just what he got mad at today.
Yeah, that's today.
A very old clip.
That was an
old clip.
Very old clip.
Okay.
It's not new. It's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And then Julia Fox posted like she's not heartbroken that they broke up. It was a come up. She's a #1 hustler. It's just absurd. It's just
that's what I'm saying. Like it went from like entertaining to like kind of sad very quick.
It's chaos.
Who's your loser? All of them.
Is there a bigger winner than Pete Davidson in the last 12 months? This guy's literally become celebrity royalty.
I mean, few years, ever since Ariana Grande. This guy's been on fire.
Yeah.
This is like, he's the
new George Clooney.
That's absurd.
But like when George Clooney was like the sexiest man alive, and like
now
he was the bachelor. This is Pete Davidson.
You should put
when America thinks of like it's Pete Davidson. It's like, by the way, like he really just does Saturday Night Live. He has kind of cameos in movies. It's not like he's an A-list star.
He's a good roaster. He's on those comedy.
Okay, what do you get for that?
A show, I think,
$25,000 to do a roast.
Yeah.
So there's no chance. he can keep up with the Joneses and fly private. Kim's paying for everything.
Yeah, and she's happy
Oh,
to.
for
What's she
sure.
care?
Yeah.
Because
Uncut job.
they're everywhere. And they're like out and about. They're getting photographed everywhere.
They're everywhere.
They
They're
went to
in
like
love.
they went to some tent for Valentine's Day.
Saw
Was
that. Just looked like
New
in the
York?
street in New York. There's someone set up a tent. Yeah, they're flying everywhere, and she doesn't. I mean, she's Skims is 3.2 Billy. She's like whatever.
She's a
hop on,
billionaire.
Pete.
Whatever. Who cares? I got you. And he obviously doesn't care because all the women he dates are all more successful than him, right?
Yeah.
Like Ariana Grande, filthy rich.
That's amazing.
Like so. And I think that's what also makes him endearing. He's not trying to be like overpowering the woman. He's just like, yeah, my girl is rich and successful. I'm cool to just be with her.
Yeah, whatever it is,
He
he
is
figured
the
it
new
out.
prototype for a guy.
I feel like it's going to end poorly for him.
I don't think so.
I
I think
this
ultimately
is
it
fuck
does.
him
I
up.
mean, I would have thought that after Ariana Grande, but now he's like 6 mega celebs in. He's going to land one of them.
No, but just like mentally, this is a whole new vortex. You have Kanye West going after you.
Yeah.
You're in the Kardashian vortex, which has left a lot of body bags along the way.
That's tough. That's tough.
Uncut Gems.
Jobs. All right. Okay, loser on it.
My loser is what's going on in Canada with the truckers.
Oh yeah,
And
who's the loser though, in your opinion?
so now Trudeau is trying to freeze bank accounts of truckers that are at these protests, which is he's deemed illegal, and by government order, he's freezing some of these truckers' bank accounts.
Yeah.
And I'll stay out of Canadian politics, but this just seems like a complete mess. And freezing bank accounts is pretty predatory.
And
for
like
showing up to a
canceling
protest.
their insurance, taking the cars, wiping all the like GoFundMe donations. I agree. I don't really know the like super details to try like pick a side, but it does seem like a bit of a overreach.
Canada's supposed to be the nice country where everyone gets along, right?
Canada hasn't been in the news my whole life. And now it's all you hear about.
All I knew about Canada was Bieber and Drake and The Weeknd.
Yeah.
3 good exports.
Yeah, and they came here. You didn't ever hear even how it was back there. Yeah, the occasional song about Toronto or whatever. It was crazy. Okay, I agree. My loser is California currently, very similar to my last week one, because we just, we took a big step. Omicron cases are down. 73% of people are immune. We took a big step. We said, you know what? No more masks at outdoor certain specific events. That's our big step. We let go of our outdoor mask mandate at certain events, which I didn't even know you were supposed to wear a mask outside. So we're just losers. We're moving slow.
We are moving slow, but we're moving. We're moving.
You see the data in Florida and Texas. Let's go. Get rid of those things. Content. What do you got?
My content is, speaking of my loser, the new Kanye documentary.
Same.
I'm definitely going to watch that this weekend.
Yep, I started it last night.
Was it good?
So this is what I'll say. I used to be such a Kanye fan, like College Dropout, all that stuff. I loved so much, and for that part of me, it is so good because it's like his. At least the first episode is like his when he was nothing. Yeah, and like they have a lot of really good footage of him, like literally him walking into Rockefeller Records and like playing All Falls Down, and people are just shining him. Like they're just like the assistants like won't even pay attention to him. Like it's so good.
Record label people are like Chanel employees. They're just fucking condescending and rude for no reason.
Yeah. Well, I think you just like it's a job of like chasing what's hot, not necessarily discovering it.
Yeah.
Like you ride the wave, you don't create it. But it's really, there's some really great footage in there, so you'll love it.
Okay.
Anand?
So this is like going to be must-see TV for me. Hopefully it's televised. Donald Trump has been mandated to show up to court and testify in a civil probe. And knowing his ego, knowing prosecutors trying to, get him to say something, I think he can. I think all bets are off what he's going to say.
Is it for January 6th or what?
No, civil probe over like financial dealings. And they're going to go after him so hard, and he's going to get so angry on the stand. I could see like a Colonel Jessup, Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson scene where he's so cocky and just incriminates himself.
Oh, that'd be great.
I was never in China. I never went to China.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you must miss your
Yeah, I missed my daily briefing.
daily briefing. Yeah. Okay, well this will feed that need. Yep. Would you know when that's happening?
They just said that he has to testify, but they haven't set a court date.
Nice.
But the breaking news is that he has to testify.
That's great. Okay. That's it. That's all we got. Anything we missed?
Right. That's it.
Okay. Everyone have a great start to your weekend, and we will see you Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.